My wife of 10 months is exceptionally attractive, loving, caring and my best friend. While dating for 2 years, we'd both lived with our parents. Our only times together were a few intimate sessions and one 4-day trip. What didn't initially seem like a deal breaker is now more problematic. Simply put, my wife's excessively flatulent. When dating, I'd dismissed her sporadic passing of gas as her being comfortably natural when with someone she loves. But now she's flatulent almost all the time we're together in the car, while sleeping, while watching TV, while being intimate, etc. It's become annoying and a mood killer, perhaps even disrespectful. I asked if she wanted to discuss this with our family physician or her gynecologist, but she flat out refuses to address this, often by giggling and asserting, "Baby, relax, it's just a fart." She finds this humorous. I raised this with my doctor, who said it could potentially be an indicator of a serious intestinal issue. How can I get my wife to address this from both a medical and common courtesy perspective? It's not funny your wife dismisses gas as natural, and it often is, but it's been allowed to become a relationship bomb. She's letting frequent flatulence come between you by paying no attention to your discomfort with it. While passing wind is the stuff of childhood hilarity, it's commonly considered socially awkward or rude among adults. Ignoring the turn-off odor and your annoyance, along with her refusal to check for health problems, indicate both insensitivity to you and immature denial. None of this is good for your marriage, which deserves more than a giggling brush-off. Tell her so. Say that you're willing to help her find the cause, since frequent flatulence doesn't usually occur without a reason. Excessive gas can signal easily manageable causes, such as lactose intolerance and specific reactions to some foods, e.g. beans, cabbage, or to some laxatives and ibuprofen. But there can be serious causes such as irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease and diabetes. The sooner she sees a doctor and rules out, treats or manages these causes, the sooner this will no longer be a divisive issue. Do the research with her, and also check out some of the simple home remedies if there's no health issue, such as drinking plenty of fluids and lukewarm water, and learning to swallow less air. I recently met up with my ex 2 months after our breakup. We dated exclusively for 10 months when he told me that he didn't love me as I loved him. He cared for me, he said. I knew I had to move on or be miserable. I've been reaching out to strong women friends, seeking certainty that I must hold out till I find someone who loves me fully. But seeing him was tough. I miss him, and my feelings are still there. Is caring enough? For a person who needs to be loved in a relationship, his caring will always fall short. It becomes a deal you've accepted, causes you to try harder at pleasing him and erodes your self-esteem. Difficult as it likely was to break up, you've done the right thing for yourself. Especially if you're now determined to increase your sense of self-worth, by building up your supports, sincere, strong friendships and healthy family connections. From there, the future will unfold with more likelihood of your finding what you want and need in a partner. A partner's indifference to the effects of excess personal flatulence is no joke. If one too many incidents of making your living room temporarily uninhabitable have left you wondering, why do I fart so much? Then, we feel you. Straight up, passing wind a lot throughout a day is a pretty normal thing, though our social taboos around it can make you feel like you're the only one. To understand why this might happen and why it might be a cause for concern, aside from the associated embarrassment, it's important to understand why we fart in the first place. Ultimately, releasing wind is a normal bodily function, one which the NHS describes as passing gas from the digestive system out of the back passage. Gases build up in the body when you both ingest food. Air is often swallowed alongside food, water and saliva, and digest food. When gut bacteria digest nutrients, they produce hydrogen, methane and carbon dioxide, and these need to be got rid of by farting or burping. The average person farts 14 to 18 times per day, but you may not even be aware that you're doing it because wind is usually released in small quantities and it is typically odorless. But, if the gases in your body contain stinky components such as sulfur, then you and anyone within a close proximity are sure going to know about it. So, what causes this to happen? And what causes you to fart above that rather surprising average? WH called in registered dietitian Laura Tilt to lift the lid on this typically undiscussed matter. Unsurprisingly, there's not too much research on passing wind. But, says Tilt, one study of healthy volunteers found that the average body relieves itself of around 700 milliliters of gas a day on a high-fiber diet, primarily carbon dioxide and hydrogen, produced in the large intestine or colon. To put that into context, 700 milliliters is more than half a liter and equates to around 14 to 25 farts a day. There's no consensus on what counts as an excessive amount of gas, which makes the question, am I excessively gassy? Hard to answer. Tilt says, it comes down, as so often, to what is normal or unusual for you. As mentioned, flatulence is typically odorless, so if you're aware that you're actually farting because you can smell it and you're releasing more than 14 to 25 farts per day, or farting more than 14 to 18 times a day, it could be that you're experiencing excessive wind. Before you get yourself concerned with medical conditions that might be the cause of your excessive gas, it's worth assessing your diet against the 4 pointers Tilt gives below. It could be that your wind is nothing sinister, just the result of your current eating habits, meaning it can be easily avoided. 1. You've switched to a high-fiber diet. 2. You're eating gas-forming foods, which contain sugars and fibers that the body can't digest, so they get consumed by our gut bacteria instead. Think beans, onions, cauliflower and broccoli. 3. You're using sweeteners, such as sorbitol, or having products that contain them, including sugar-free chewing gum and soft drinks. 4. You're following a high-protein diet or consuming lots of protein shakes. Gut bacteria ferment protein, so it escapes digestion with smelly results. However, if you can't make any connection between your wind and the above diet patterns, it could be there is something more sinister going on inside your gut. These could include 5. Celiac disease. 6. Lactose intolerance. 7. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. 8. Indigestion. 9. Constipation. 10. Gastroenteritis. 11. Giardiasis. 12. Malabsorption. 13. Farting can also be a side effect of certain medications. Essentially, if you are concerned about the amount of or smell of your wind, then yes, always seek medical advice. Tilt also recommends seeing your GP if you are experiencing other symptoms such as bloating, tummy pain, changes in your toilet habits, diarrhea, constipation, blood in your stools, unexplained weight loss, or signs of infections, such as muscle or joint pain, or sickness. They can check that there's no underlying conditions that could be causing your flatulence, she says. First, remember that farting is normal and healthy, then follow Tilt's 5-part flatulence fighting action plan to keep excessive wind and embarrassing smells at bay. Sit down and chew your food well, such as unrefined cereal fiber like bran. This can reduce gas production, but don't be tempted to avoid high-fiber foods altogether, as you'll end up starving your gut bacteria, which can be problematic in the long term. If you're looking to increase the amount of fiber in your diet, do so slowly to give your gut time to adjust. People with IBS are more sensitive to gas and can experience more discomfort from it. If this is you, try using a food diary or consult a dietitian to help identify trigger foods such as beans, onions and garlic.